Welcome back.
Hello, guys, and hello to our YouTube channel. Dun dun dun! Announcement.
We're filming ourselves.
Yeah, we are recording this for our YouTube channel. Hopefully, the actual footage comes out okay, and this video does see the light of day. We asked you guys months ago on our Facebook page if you wanted us to do a YouTube channel as well as like the podcast, so just like a visual version, I guess, of the podcast, and so many people said yes. I mean, I get it because I feel like I connect better with video rather than just listening to audio, so I totally get it. It's exciting to be able to see us in action, but also very daunting for us.
But we thought we would film this episode because we've got a new little podcast set up.
We do. What do you guys think? We're putting the neon sign to use that the boys got us.
Love that for us.
We're like working on doing up this room in general, just as like a proper vibey studio. But right now, I think our little corner is cute.
Yeah, our first setup was like, we had a couch here, but I feel like I was just slouching.
Yeah. We were getting a little bit too comfy.
Yeah, so we needed something that we could sit on, sit up straight, you know?
Yeah, a bit more profesh. Okay, so if you see us on our phones on the video, it's because we have notes on our phones to kind of keep us on track.
Because we're very good at going off track.
It happens all the
Far too
time,
often.
and it's probably still going to happen even though we have the notes in front of us, but
Probably.
hopefully these will help us out. Today's episode, we wanted to talk about how the social media industry has evolved over the last 10 years, would you say? I feel like anything to do with the internet, technology, it's just constantly changing. Like I think they say people that study IT, I think it's like a 3-year degree, but by the time they finish that 3-year degree, almost everything is out of date because it just changes so frequently. And I feel like that's kind of similar in the world of social media. It's always changing. And I mean, I've been doing this for 7 years now, and it is completely different to what it was when I first started.
Even like when I first came into it, like when I met you, because I really didn't know much about the industry at all, but it's changed since then. And it's only been like, what, 2 years?
I also feel like COVID, the pandemic, just like skyrocketed social media, and so much happened in that like year and a half. Like that's when TikTok really came about and just took a hold of the whole social media industry. But yeah, so that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. We've got a number of different things that we want to touch on under that umbrella because there is a lot to kind of cover. And hopefully you guys find it interesting. We might be like delving quite deep into it, but I think if anyone's been like interested in getting into the industry or has been in the industry for like years and years and years, but is struggling to kind of keep up with how much it's changing, you might find this really interesting, hopefully. So first things first, social media platforms. When I first started, it was primarily Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah. I feel like YouTube was a big one.
And blogs, actually. My first ever thing that I did was a blog.
Yeah, true.
And then I started sharing the photos that I was kind of putting on my blog to my Instagram, and I was using my Instagram to promote my blog. And then it was through my Instagram that I was getting reposts, and followers would find me through the reposts. And then that's when they started asking me for tutorials on YouTube. So that's kind of how it like evolved for me. But I mean, when I started blogging, I was very much like a consumer of YouTube. I loved YouTube. I would put it on the minute I woke up in the morning. I would check my sub box, and like all of my favorite creators would upload so frequently. I'd always have new content to watch. So YouTube and Instagram, I feel, were like the platforms to be on. And now I mean, I know a lot of creators are still on YouTube, but I don't know if consumers and followers really value YouTube as much as they used to.
I go through phases with YouTube. Like, I go through a period where I'll watch videos constantly and then I forget it's even there.
I feel like YouTube requires a lot more of my time to stay up to date with people. Like, these people that I used to literally sit and watch their daily vlogs every single morning, like it was a routine thing for me. I don't have the time for that anymore. So maybe it's just my age coming into it, and like, you know, life as an adult is probably, like super busy. My priorities are different. But that's where I think TikTok has kind of come in, because TikTok is all short form content. It's really, really easy to just like quickly consume it. Yeah. Quickly kind of catch up with all your favorite influencers in like a short, snappy 30-second video, and then you're done.
But you're not done because you sit on TikTok.
Yeah. It really ropes you in. Yeah. So I don't know. I'd like, maybe other people that have more time than me do still sit and watch YouTube videos like routinely. I mean, I'm constantly getting people asking me when I'm going to be back on YouTube for my vlogs and stuff. When are you going to be back on
YouTube, Erin?
I don't know. Now, here it is. This is my new.
She even sits there and tells me that she's going to get back on YouTube.
Oh my God.
Still waiting.
I know. It's going to happen. It's on my to-do list, but I just need to find the time to be able to like edit the videos as well.
Editing the videos is the worst part.
Yeah. And like
hardest part.
Still trying to get Lucy used to daycare. I don't have like as much time as I had hoped for yet, but like it is on my radar. But yeah, I guess going back to what I was saying is I still have so many people asking for YouTube videos, so that makes me think that people still watch it and want to consume that kind of content. Yeah. So I do think there's still a big place for YouTube. Yeah. Personally, it's just not really like my favorite platform anymore, but I think that's kind of how it has evolved. Like, people used to really, really love that long form, like vlog style video, whereas now they want like quick.
No one has the attention span.
Updates. Yeah. Literally attention span of a goldfish. We all have it. And then there's obviously like live streaming platforms now. To be honest, I don't know a whole lot about them. I know a lot of people do live stream on TikTok. And then there's Twitch as well, which I think is more in like the gaming side of things. Again, I don't really know too much about it, but yeah, a lot of people are on that. I actually saw a TikTok the other day. I can't remember if I mentioned this to you, Kayla, but it was about Facebook ads. And this chick is making like $9,000 a month from Facebook ads. No. And it's because she's repurposing her reels and monetizing her Instagram reels. You know how like Instagram reels now show up on Facebook because they're both the Meta platform. So she is monetizing her reels on the Facebook platform. So when people are scrolling through videos and an ad pops up, she's getting paid for that. I didn't even know that was a thing.
No.
Had no idea.
What?
Like, I would not have, sitting down talking about this, I would not have included Facebook in this discussion at all until I saw that TikTok the other day.
I feel like Facebook right now is irrelevant. Yeah. I literally only use it for Messenger. That's all I use it
and
for.
Like events. If like someone creates an event for whatever.
Or to say happy birthday to someone.
Yeah. Even then, I'm like so bad with saying happy birthday now. But yeah, so I mean, again, I can't say much about it because that's the extent of what I know. But yeah, apparently there's a space for Facebook out there still.
True.
So yeah, it has changed, and I feel like it's still changing. Like, who knows, in another couple of years' time, there might be a whole nother platform that people have jumped on the bandwagon for, and it's just like taken off like TikTok did.
Well, what's that one that's not replacing TikTok, but it was in line with TikTok? What was it called?
In line with TikTok?
Yeah. You know how there was that whole thing about TikTok might be being banned, and so they created a new app.
Oh.
Do you remember what it was called?
I can't remember the name of it. I just I can't see anything ever taking off the way that TikTok did, only because I mentioned this before, the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like, the pandemic really had a huge huge effect on social media. And TikTok kind of like launched just in time for that. I mean, I think it had been around for ages, but like people were on Vine. I don't know if you ever...
Yeah, I used to love Vine.
So I feel like TikTok took over Vine.
Yeah.
And TikTok really started gaining traction just before the pandemic.
It took me ages to get on TikTok though, I'm not gonna lie.
Same. I was definitely one of those people that was like, ew, I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna do TikTok.
Whereas like now you sort of have to stay relevant.
Yeah, you have to. You literally have no choice. If you want to be successful in the social media industry now, you've got to be on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people use TikTok now to kind of drive traffic over to other platforms like Instagram and YouTube. So it's definitely, it's huge. Instagram, like other platforms are so hard to grow on these days. Whereas TikTok, I feel like all it takes is one video to just do really, really well.
And it doesn't even have to be like a fully thought out video.
It can be the most random, dumbass, stupid video. And it will do so well.
Yeah.
And I think that is kind of what happened to me when I was pregnant. I was posting a lot of content on TikTok, and from that my Instagram following grew quite a lot as well. So yeah, it's definitely very useful. Very, very useful. The next thing is, I guess, like changing the format of content. I feel like we kind of touched on this earlier with like YouTube videos and how they used to, like, followers used to enjoy that long form content. Even on Reels now, when Instagram launched Reels, everyone was like, oh, this is like a copy of TikTok. And yeah, it kind of is. Like, there's no denying that. It's literally Instagram's version of TikTok. But I do feel like Instagram Reels and TikTok are still very different. Like, Instagram Reels seem to be very like aesthetically pleasing and like vibey. Yeah. A bit more filtered, edited, curated, whereas TikTok is more raw. Yeah. And like chaotic and like still, you know, the trends and all of that stuff. So I don't know what Instagram's plan was when they launched Reels, but it has kind of become its own thing. And then like, because we've got two other platforms, Instagram and TikTok, that now have their own video formats, how do you fit both of those in with YouTube? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot.
Wait. Doesn't YouTube now have shorts?
Yes. So now even YouTube has their own kind of version.
Have you like looked into that? I've been meaning to discuss this
with
you, but I've
we
totally
can discuss it now.
About it.
No, I've not looked into it. Ben actually watches a lot of YouTube shorts.
Yeah, right. So like, is it just copying TikTok and Reels, or like,
I've seen a lot of people repurpose their content onto YouTube shorts, or like they use YouTube shorts as a way of kind of teasing and enticing people into watching the longer form YouTube videos. Yeah. I think there's a few different ways that people use them.
Kind of like what Sarah's Day does for her YouTube videos on her Reels.
Yeah.
Like she'll post like snippets,
kind of like a trailer.
Videos. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about, again, it's just another thing.
Yeah.
Like, it is so hard to stay on top of all of these different platforms. And within the platforms, they each have their own, you know, content pieces that you're supposed to create per platform. Like, it's hard.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why TikTok does so well, is because it's literally just TikTok videos. Occasionally people post their stories on TikTok. I don't really think they've like skyrocketed.
Yeah, that's not like a massive thing.
Yeah. So maybe that's why TikTok does so well, is because they've just simplified it and just said, you know what, just upload videos and we're happy with that. But yeah, I think the way people want to consume content has changed a lot. And they want like quick, snappy, straight to the point kind of content, which TikTok and Instagram Reels delivers. And I guess now YouTube Shorts, but I'm just not sure if that's really on the same level yet as Instagram and TikTok.
It's YouTube's way of staying relevant.
So the other thing is, I guess, from like a behind the scenes perspective, I don't know if a lot of like consumers would maybe be aware of this change over the last 10 years, but as an influencer working with brands, the way that brands are now measuring the success of campaigns with influencers and choosing influencers to work with and stuff is very different like very, very different. They're a lot more selective. Like back in the day when I first started getting paid collabs, it was very much just like based on how many followers you had. And brands would just want to work with you based on that. Whereas there came like a big shift when you were able to start looking at like analytics and insights on Instagram and YouTube more thoroughly. Like you could see some really, really specific data, and brands started requesting that data before they committed to like paid collab with you. And I think rates then changed, not based on your follower count anymore, and it was more about
your engagement
and like specifically the ROI.
Yeah.
Which is fair, like it's business. They've got to make sure that the money they're spending on influencers is being spent well, and that's one way to kind of assess the risk of you putting your money into an influencer.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that never really used to be a thing. Like I don't think I remember the first time I was asked to share my analytics with a brand, I felt like they were asking me something very private. Like I was like, should I be sharing this with you? Like, really? And now it's like just a normal thing.
Yeah.
I think there's even platforms that you sign up to and brands have access to your insights on the back end of Instagram, and
which is so much easier.
So much easier. Like such a life-changing platform, because otherwise you'd have to screenshot like 20 different things and send them through. But yeah, that's been like a huge change. And I think because of that, brands have been a lot pickier with the influencers that they're choosing to work with.
Do you think that like insights and all of that sort of stuff became a thing when the industry became more saturated? Because there were so many more influencers to choose from.
Yeah, definitely. I think like, so one of the examples that I can think of is back before insights really became a thing. I think a lot of like, I don't know how to say this without it coming across in the wrong way, but a lot of people back in the day would get a big following just because they shared a lot of bikini photos and stuff like that.
Or they were pretty, or like...
Yeah, like they were attractive.
Yeah.
And brands would work with them because they had a lot of followers, but probably wouldn't get a very good return on investment. And so they started looking into why, and that comes down to the demographics. And with people that post a lot of content like that, they're...
attracting the male audience.
Yeah. But they're getting brands reaching out to them wanting to promote makeup or like very female, focused products.
Yeah.
And so I think through that, maybe brands started realizing that they need to look deeper into the analytics of these profiles, because they're not getting a return on what they're paying these influencers. So just because someone has a lot of followers doesn't mean that they're going to be the best person to promote your product.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I know for me, like my audience is primarily female, probably because I've mostly spoken about like a lot of pregnancy stuff. And I've monitored my following quite a lot to make sure that, like, to be honest, whenever I see a male start following me, I usually just block them because I'm like, why are you following me? My content, obviously within reason, I will go on their profile, and if they're like a trucker, do you know what I mean? Like their profile picture is them working in the mines or something, I'm like,
no, thank you.
There's literally no reason for you to be following me. So I can't help but think it's for like ill intent. And so I just block them. But I guess for my own privacy and for the sake of like making sure my content's being consumed by the right people, but also it messes with my analytics. And like, I want my content to be consumed by the target audience for a lot of my brands. Like it's my business. So I've got to monitor that and make sure it's on track with my goals for my business, I guess.
Definitely.
So yeah, I think insights came in to play a lot around that kind of time as well. So yeah, it's interesting, like the way that brands analyze everything before they commit to working with you now.
Yeah.
It's smart.
Yeah, very.
Like, yeah, they have every right to. Okay, and next up, I had written down the whole like clickbait titles. They're just not a thing anymore. Or if they are, people see straight through them and don't click on the video. Like it's too corny and cheesy.
I absolutely hate clicking on a video and because of a title, and then the clickbait is like not even clickbait, like it's not even a thing.
Yeah.
And it drives me insane.
It used to be huge on YouTube, obviously, because like you would title your videos so that they would stand out in like people's subscription boxes because they were so saturated.
Yeah.
But nowadays I feel like, I mean, you don't really title Instagram Reels or TikTok videos. So I feel like the whole clickbaity thing has kind of like faded off. But now it's more about like hooking people into the actual content and creating quality content. Like a lot of people will talk about creating a hook at the start of your video, and that could be something like, what's an example? Like, you'll never believe what just happened or something. And people are like, oh my God, I want to watch more. What just happened? That's like a hook.
Yeah.
At the beginning of a video.
Yeah. How long do you reckon that's going to last?
I don't know, because sometimes, to be completely honest, I scroll straight past a video when I see that.
I hate that too. Like, it's
like, it just makes it seem a bit more
like you're desperate to get people to watch your video sort of thing.
Yeah, and like calculated.
Yeah.
And as the minute I get that vibe, I'm like, no,
yeah,
I just want to watch something real.
Yeah.
So it's hard because a lot of brands at the moment are putting into briefs that they want you to hook people in.
Yeah.
And I always feel a little bit like icky having to do that because it just doesn't feel as like authentic.
Yeah.
Some people I think do it really, really well, and I don't ask me to give you examples because I can't think of it right now, but there are some people that do it in a very authentic way where you don't even really realize that they've done it.
I feel like Indy Clinton is a good example here.
Indy. Is that just because it's pure chaos from the beginning? Yeah.
Yes. That's all she has to do to hook people in.
I feel like this leads us into like the next point that I had written down is like, to gain traction now on social media, it's very much about finding your niche and being the first person to absolutely nail it.
Yeah.
And Indy Clinton has done a really, really good job at that. Like her whole persona on TikTok is just chaos.
Yeah.
And it probably attracts a lot of hate because I think people don't see it for what it is. It's very much a masterpiece what she's done, and like it comes across as very unedited, raw, which it is, but it's kind of planned to be that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to get people's attention.
And to be fair, she probably doesn't even care about all the hate that she cops, because the more people that share that,
exactly,
the more like,
and I think that's why she's
engagement.
grown so fast is because it has kind of been quite controversial, some of the stuff that she shows, and like very chaotic, very controversial. People send it to their friends and can't believe that she's showing what she's showing. But in return, she's gaining a hugely engaged audience.
So you're all doing her a favor, really.
Yeah. She is actually a really lovely person too. Like I went to Splendor in the Grass with her a few years ago, and she is one of the most down-to-earth people, and I don't know if knowing that and then watching her content I can like,
no, I feel like she comes across as a pretty genuine person online. I've never met her, so
yeah, well there you go.
I feel like like what you see is what you get sort of thing.
Very much so.
Yeah, very much
so. She's so funny. Her TikTok has just taken off. The other example as well is Emily Kaiser in the US. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. She went, and Alex Earl is another one.
Oh yeah, Alex Earl. Yeah.
So like, I feel like everyone that's been on TikTok will know these two names because they were on everyone's For You page for a while there. But they kind of were like the first people to be creating the style of videos that they did, and they did it so well. And I think that's what you need to do these days to build your audience and like gain that traction on social media. But you can't just keep doing the same thing that everyone else is doing. You need to figure out your niche and do it really, really well. So yeah, back in the day, like it was always kind of about like trends, and if someone did something that worked really well and you did it, it was kind of like it was going to go viral. It was guaranteed to go viral. Whereas now you've got to be so original with your content and think outside the box.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot harder. It's a lot harder, especially because in line with that is that the industry is so much more saturated now too.
Way more saturated.
So staying original in an industry that's just full of creators is very hard. I actually had another one written down. I thought maybe this was only my For You page because I'm a mum and like I get a lot of parenting content, but those baby voiceovers that people are doing.
It actually started with dogs or animals, didn't it? Or
maybe.
Was it like combined? I don't know. I got the dog.
You're a dog mum. I'm a child mum.
But
a human mum.
Ever since you started sending them to me, I now get baby ones.
Yeah.
Baby voiceovers.
There's one account. I think the little girl's name is Eliza, and her mum's name is like Rebecca or something, and she does the funniest baby voiceovers. And a lot of people have followed suit and, you know, try and do their own. And to be fair, a lot of them are really funny. But I think this Eliza, she was just like the OG, and I feel like she just does it so well. But yeah, again, that's kind of another example of like being the first person and that original creator to try something new and do something new. Like, yeah, she's done so well with those.
Another thing we had written down was that consumers now see influencing as being a viable career. So yeah, like we as the younger generation didn't grow up.
We didn't have social, like we
did, but it wasn't what it is today. Like,
and there was no careers from social media.
Yeah.
Or if there was, it wasn't really known that people were making money because like you didn't have to disclose. It was it was a new world entirely.
I only remember when I was younger being on MSN. That's all I really remember having.
Yeah.
MSN and MySpace.
Yeah.
Which like, yeah. MySpace was like Facebook, so
it was never they were never social platforms like what we have today.
Yeah,
it was more just about like socializing with your friends when you weren't at school.
Yeah.
Basically.
And we grew up wanting to be like astronauts and, you know.
I mean, I don't know about astronaut.
Pop star,
it was
singer.
Yeah, Britney Spears. It was very much more about like a university degree or something like that, because there just wasn't a world out there where you could earn money posting on social media.
Whereas now I feel like in people's futures, universities are going to start having YouTubing or like influencing.
I reckon it could become like a TAFE course.
Oh, 100%.
Like learning how to vlog and like create video content 100%. And like social media and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, marketing degrees cover a lot of that anyway, like influencer marketing, social media marketing, like all of that stuff. But the actual like content creation side, I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes a TAFE degree soon.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think a lot of people in school at the moment, like school-aged kids, are growing up aspiring to be influencers and content creators because they've grown up watching everyone else doing it online. And it is considered a career now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, back in my day, like, I mean, I fell into it because it kind of became a hobby for me. I didn't know that it could be a career.
Which is kind of cool when you think about it.
It is kind of cool. It is. But yeah, nowadays kids like grow up and they're like, I want to be a YouTuber when I grow old when I get older.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. There's been a huge shift with that. And I think that is kind of why the industry is so saturated now, is because a lot of people are taking it a lot more seriously and consider it to be a very viable career option. So it's cool. It is very, very cool. It just means there's a lot more competition out there, and yeah, it's harder to stand out. Especially for us oldies.
You're irrelevant.
Literally.
No, I actually follow this older woman on Instagram, and she's like real into fashion content, and she's so cool. Like,
is this the lady you sent me the other day and you were like, me in 60 years or something?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
No, it's a different lady. I'll have to show you. But like, yeah, I love her. So don't worry, you're not irrelevant yet. That's what I was getting at that point.
All right, let's wrap it up.
I feel like now too, instead of trying to go viral, it's more about like creating an engaged audience with the audience you've already got.
Yeah. Well, I even see like when creators have like a reel go viral on Instagram, they will follow that up on stories by saying like, welcome to all of the new people, like let's do a Q&A so you can get to know me. And it's very smart because you want people to follow you and stick around because they like you, not just because they liked that one video that happened to go viral. So yeah, you really have to create a community. And then I guess that kind of like you know, leads into good engagement for paid posts and stuff in terms of like building a career out of it. But just longevity, like you want people to follow you no matter what you post or what you do because they like you as a person. So like not everyone's going to like every single piece of content you put out there, but it's more about, I think, creating that relationship with the influencer rather than with the content as like a surface level thing. So yeah, whereas I mean, I think it was very much like a community thing back in the day, but it wasn't as like important as it is now because you could just have like a viral video and you'd be sweet. Whereas now, and I think that comes down to the fact that like you can have a viral video now and get lots of followers, but brands don't care about followers, they care about your engagement. So it's kind of what we were talking about before. They care more about like the analytics and the insights and how engaged your community is rather than how many followers you've got. And I think that kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why a lot of people do the Q&As and they do live streams and stuff like that, because it really does create more of a relationship with people. Okay, last thing I just wanted to mention is that, which we kind of spoke about in the episode where we touched on how influencers make money. One of the things we spoke about was like UGC content and creating like more real raw style videos. And like I think like UGC wasn't really a thing back in the day. I mean, brands would pay for usage, but it wasn't like what they do now. Ads that were boosted on social media were very much ads. Like you would see them and it was very sponsored, very addy. Whereas now brands are paying for UGC videos because it feels like it's just a real person.
Yeah, it's because it's like an everyday consumer and they actually genuinely love the product. And so
it comes across a lot more authentic. Even though it's a sponsored or boosted paid post, it comes across a lot more just like I'm using it in my everyday life and love it, rather than here's a mascara that I've been loving lately. Like it's a lot more genuine, a lot more authentic, and consumers connect with that a lot more now. So yeah, that's been a huge shift, like creating less cinematic style things or less like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's more just face to camera talking and showing you using the product kind of in an everyday situation. That's what brands want, rather than like a sit down in front of your studio lights and your big camera and like makeup tutorial, which is exactly what we're doing, but no brands are going to want to sponsor this anyway, so it's fine. But yeah, that has been a massive change as well.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot, guys. As someone that's like, there's people that have been in the industry for a lot longer than I have too, and I feel like they've probably noticed the shifts way more than me.
It honestly makes you think what it's going to be like in like a couple of years time, and then like when we're 60 and like our kids.
This is why when people say to you, but do you think being a YouTuber is like, do you have a plan B? Like, do you think it's really going to be like a long-term thing? I don't know.
Does anyone know if their job's going to be a long-term thing?
Literally.
Like, who knows these days?
Like with all this AI stuff coming out, I feel like a lot of people's jobs are at risk because now the computers are doing everything what they've studied years to be able to do. Now a computer can do it for them.
Even like I saw this video, this is like completely not on the topic of influencing, but the other day I saw this video of a robot doing lashes.
Oh my God, stop.
Like no one's job is safe
anymore. Yeah. So yeah, who knows where the industry is going to be in another 5 years time. But I think it's just, you've got to evolve with it.
Yep.
You have no choice but to keep evolving with it. And like I said earlier, when TikTok first came out, I was like, ew, I'm not using TikTok. Like that's so not my style of thing. Like I just wasn't here for it. I've had no choice but to get on board. To be fair, I'm now addicted, love scrolling through the page. So it really hooked me in. But yeah, it's like, it just goes to show you've got to be like, you got to stay really open-minded and just evolve with the platforms. Yeah. Like you've got no choice. If you want to keep doing this as a career, you have to. Yeah. You got to keep learning.
Crazy.
Anyways, that brings us to the end of the ep. I feel like this was quite long-winded and I did a lot of the talking.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Erin took over this one.
So sorry. I just had a lot to say. It's an interesting topic because it's like so much has happened.
Yeah.
so much has happened. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We have some very exciting episodes coming. We've locked in a couple of guests.
Yay.
We are expanding and getting some guests on the potty for some interviews. So like influencers, brands, we've got some really exciting things happening. So stay tuned for that, and we will see you guys. I always say see you, but that's just because I'm used to doing YouTube videos.
We'll talk to you.
We'll talk to you in the next ep.
Bye.
Bye.